Hey guys, so this is NEONVICE, and today we are here with Beth Wexler.
Hello.
We are hanging out at the Highline in Manhattan, and if you like our interviews, if you would go to patreon.com/neonvice to help contribute and make it happen, and head on over to Beth's website, which is
so there's inthememorylab.com, which is the website where most of my work is posted, and then you can also find me on Instagram at thisiswex, so THISISWEX. Yeah,
cool.
Right on. All right.
Can you also tell us about like what you do exactly as an artist?
Sure. So my main thing is, my background is in video primarily, and what I've sort of shifted into or evolved into is a video performer. That's probably my main job right now. I perform visuals with artists or musicians and bands, DJs and such, but I'm also a graphic designer and I do a lot of motion graphics as well.
Okay, so talk about a project that you're working on right now.
Right, so right now I'm working with a musician named Kaki King. She is a guitar player. She's been around for a while. She's supremely talented, has been named in Rolling Stone a bunch of times. She actually toured with Dave Grohl a bunch of years ago. But she plays acoustic guitar in a very percussive, sort of contemporary, classical way, but it doesn't sort of fit in any genre. And what I'm doing with her is we're doing a project where I projection map onto her guitar during the show. So,
and not everyone knows what projection mapping is.
That's exactly what I was going to say. So basically, we sort of make what's easiest to understand as like a digital stencil. So we set up, the guitar is set on like fixed stands, and we put a projector on the ground in front of it and then sort of cut out a stencil on the computer that doesn't let light pass past the body of the guitar. So it just projects and shines light onto the guitar. And then it's a completely instrumental performance. There's no vocals or anything. And yeah, it's a really, really interesting show.
Okay. Yeah, so can you tell us a bit about the technical side of projection mapping and what that entails?
Sure. Yeah, so it's a little bit abstract of a concept if you're not familiar with some of the technologies. But as I was explaining, essentially you're creating, well, there's a few techniques, but you're creating a digital stencil. So what you're doing is trying not to shine light past the surface you want to project on. So a lot of people might associate projection mapping with these big buildings where people project onto like all the little details, and they really cut out and make their content really fit nicely on like ledges and the shape of the building. And there are a lot of ways to achieve that, but the way that I'm doing it for that show is with a program called MadMapper.
Okay.
And what that does is it enables me to take a photo from the perspective of the projector and essentially see what the lens of the projector is seeing, so that the stencil that I cut out is accurate for where the light's shining through.
Okay.
And then the visuals themselves are all being run through a program called VDMX, which is visual performance software. So a lot of VJs use it, some performance artists, installation artists.
You also do graphic design work?
I try. That's kind of a new, I mean, I've always done a little bit of design work, but I'm only recently trying to take it to the next level and you know, do more with it.
Okay. So you mostly lean towards the video side of things? It's
just my background, so I'm like the most comfortable with it. I know it the best. And I feel like I can get the most creative with it because of that.
So tell me about your plans for the next year.
Well, the upcoming year, I will be working on the project that I was talking about with the guitar player. That project is called The Neck is a Bridge to the Body, so I'll probably refer to it as that. If I say that, that's what I mean. But I've been working under an umbrella that I'm calling the Memory Lab. And for the next year or two, I'm hoping to sort of flesh that idea out as either an artist collective or a small creative agency. So that would be like the big sort of goal for the next year or two.
Okay. And so what is it as of now?
Right now it's basically just it's just a virtual space where which is my way of saying it's a website where I post my work. It's a website where I post my work. But I had initially sort of looked at it as a physical space where I was working, and I was working with a lot of old sort of defunct media, like I was saying, VHS tapes, cassette tapes, Walkmen, things like that.
Going through some of your work, it seems like you're inspired by glitch art a bit. Can you talk about that as well?
Yeah, so aesthetically I am very inspired by glitch art. I like seeing failure in things and then creating something really nice, new, and beautiful out of that failure. But I also think there's an association with glitch art of actual failure, so writing code and writing in failure to that code or seeing where that code fails. And I'm not much of a coder or programmer, so my glitching is a little more intentional. And so in some ways I don't like to associate myself as a glitch artist because of that. Okay. But there are definitely like aesthetic similarities with glitch art in a lot of what I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do a lot of video work. Are you interested in working on or taking on projects with musicians and doing music videos?
Absolutely. I've made music videos before. I've done live action stuff in the past, but I'm trying to lean away from that and do more motion graphics and sort of computer generated type of videos, but I'm always looking for music video projects to work on. So. And
what would you say your style is for that?
Again, I think glitch is a good sort of undertone, but I am sort of trying to mix it now with some of the cleaner aesthetics, and so where do the sort of cleaner geometric aesthetic of old like motion graphics blend with kind of messing that up. So you make something really clean and then you sort of like run it through a bunch of processes and totally mess it up.
All right, so Beth and I have decided to stop into Sushi Samba, and we just got our meal and we're just gonna hang out and chat and eat a little bit. Yeah, so have a sip and then tell me about your work. What brought you to the city? What's going on here?
What brought me to the city today is meeting with you.
And normally you live a little bit outside the city.
I do. I live in the suburbs currently. It's temporary. It's boring. But I moved home a few years ago to help my mom out with some stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I'm close enough to the city that I can come in about 40 minutes out of
hang out with weirdos.
Yeah, I
like
can
me.
come in, hang out with some weirdos, eat some vegetarian sushi and drink some sake.
Well, you're a self-described media junkie.
Yes.
You're obsessed with TV.
It's a guilty pleasure of mine that it's like a really bad habit. That I would love to kick, but I don't really want to.
So, would you say you're like the cable guy? Like the Jim Carrey?
No, I'm not that bad. I just constantly have this has happened mostly since I moved back to the suburbs, but I just constantly have to have...
Because there's nothing to do in the suburbs.
Right, and the house has cable in every room, and I just constantly have a TV on. Even if I'm working, it's on in the background. It's just like a total habit. I definitely grew up in front of... I was like a latchkey kid in a lot of ways when I grew up. Okay. And so I'd come home by myself when I was 12, 13 years old, because parents trusted their kids to do that in the 90s. And what does a 12, 13, 14-year-old want to do when they come home from school but watch TV for an hour until their parents come home? So I just grew up on television, and I just can't, it's like a bad habit that I can't seem to kick. So I've tried to figure out how to incorporate it into my work as much as I can.
All right, well, we have some random questions. Can you tell me who your favorite pop artist is at the moment?
At the moment, and I don't know if this person falls into the pop culture category, but Bjork, who recently released a new album and has a retrospective here in New York.
Yeah.
I've been a big Bjork fan for years and years, but she's sort of popped back onto the radar recently. I don't know if she's considered pop culture, but
She definitely is pop.
Is she? Because she's pop, but she's sort of not that popular you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's sort of that hard to describe sort of
and I think she would
cultural
appreciate
significance. That. Yeah, like
she would appreciate not being the mainstream, like easily identified artist.
But I think in recent times, and particularly right now, she comes to mind more than most.